So, for the benefit of myself and stream, would you just like to quickly introduce yourself, who you are, your Overwatch journey, and why you've come for the VOD review today?
Sure. So, my name is Sinead, hence the Shin. I started playing Overwatch on console about 3 or 4 years ago, and then 2 years ago I moved to PC. It was my first ever FPS game, my first ever kind of PC game as well. So it was moving from console to PC was like just starting all over again. It was really, really hard, but it was good. I was too scared to play anything but Mercy to start with, so that's why I've got a lot of hours on Mercy. And I'm also a bit of a mystery heroes warrior, so I don't really have a main. I just kind of fill whatever needs filling.
Okay, fair play. So, how much hours have you spent on Ana then, would you say?
On Ana, in comp or in everything total? Because it's and I've got 2 accounts as well, so I'd say probably minimum 50 hours.
Okay, so 50 hours what overall across all modes?
I'd say probably in comp probably about 30 hours and then 50 across all modes, but then with the mystery heroes as well.
Okay, and are you going to play Ana for most of this VOD?
Yeah, I play Ana for the whole VOD. I enjoy Ana. I love playing Mercy, but I feel like I can't do enough. I can't make enough of a difference in my games. Then I feel like I play Ana too passively. Like, I have a lot of ideas about what I do wrong, and I'm really keen for you to either reinforce those ideas or just tell me, no, you're wrong about what you're doing wrong. And just put me on the right path.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, so that's a relevant thing to bring up. Then what do you think you do well and what do you think you do badly?
So my nano targets and timing, I get the pressure of the nano gets to me.
Right.
And
okay.
I just kind of fling it anywhere. And also I feel like I play too passively in the sense that I am more worried about, I know I should be worried about my own life, but I think I need to balance it a bit more with doing other things.
Okay.
Yes.
And what do you think your best skills are with Ana?
I like to think I've got quite good awareness about what my team are doing. I think that comes from playing Mercy. A lot of Mercy, just always watching what other people are doing, where they are. I might be completely wrong, and you might tell me I've got the awareness of like a rock, but
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Okay, so that's good context, good to understand. And sorry, how much actually? So you moved from console. How much like FPS experience would you say you have? Because that's obviously relevant when you're playing.
Zero.
Like
Zero. I've only ever played Overwatch in terms of FPS.
And how long have you been on PC? Sorry.
2 years. Yeah,
2 years.
Just 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, not an extensive amount. Does definitely, as someone whose Overwatch was also their first FPS, takes a while to get better. Do you have like a particular regimen for like practicing your aim or anything like that?
Does Mystery Heroes count? Is that a regimen? Probably not. And I'm in my 30s as well, so time is not on my side. Like, youth is not on my side. It's yeah.
Well, I mean, I never like to use that as an excuse. I do think that
Please.
it's a bit inconclusive that whether there's a significant drop that hard that you can't necessarily I don't think excuse me, I don't think that like you can be that like I don't think the age is so bad a factor that you couldn't be master at 30 something. So I don't think that, I'm not gonna let you use that as an excuse basically. So
damn.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, is there anything else that we need to know before we get started? No, I think, okay, so let's talk about this game. Looking at your comp, what do you see as your role first and foremost, and then we'll talk about the enemy comp.
So in my comp, because we've got the BAP as well, I guess I can be doing more damage. I guess we can split the healing. I guess it's probably easier for me to heal the off angle. If the soldier's got enough off angle, it's probably easier for me to heal him than the BAP. The Hog, if he's off doing something weird by himself, it's probably easier for me to heal him. So I guess the BAP would probably be more focused on the SIG and the McCree if they're stacked together. I'm not sure, but yeah, and look after the BAP as well. The BAP does change to a brig at some point, I think.
Okay.
Which I thought was to protect me, but
Yeah,
it was.
that's a real you thought moment.
Yeah. The thing about this VOD is, I'm not under pressure a lot. I'm not. It's a really typical game, and I feel like I should have been able to do something to win it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wasn't under pressure. I didn't have a Genji diving me constantly. There wasn't something like that. So that's a really typical game. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, ironically, sometimes those games can be easier to understand what you did wrong, because when there's a Winston or a Genji diving you, it's pretty clear cut. Like, okay, if I slept or killed them, then I've done a good job, and if I die to them, then I've not done such a good job. Whereas you're right, sometimes it can be a bit more difficult to understand when there isn't a clear target for you to kill, what you could have done better. So on that note, looking at the enemy team comp, what do you think? How do you think it's going to interact with your team's comp, and how do you think it's going to kind of affect how you play, or what you do, or what you want to do?
So, because they've got the Reaper, I imagine he's probably going to want to be finding me and the BAP. So I guess I should be looking out for him. The Moira, if I can sleep the Cole or nade them when she's coaling, that would be good. Try and sleep the Rhine when he's doing his Rhine things. The Diva, I guess, could be a bit of a problem for me as well if she decides to turn her attention to me. Yeah, but nothing that should pressure me too much. Nothing that should be too much of a problem.
Yeah, I think the biggest threats to you will probably be the Hanzo, just in the case of like potentially when you're scoped in somewhere, he might be a threat to just one tap you. He's always a threat, as you know, my pet peeve will tell you. I think the Diva obviously will be your main sort of denier of what you're trying to do, potentially. It is gold, so I fully expect her to just fight your Hog and Sigma all day long. But in theory, she could be eating in your nades and your sleeps. And then the Reaper, yeah, potentially he might TP on top of you, so it's a case of kind of keeping an eye out. I think the biggest thing in that, especially I'm finding, having, I'm sure you've been watching, when I've been going through plat and stuff in support, the biggest thing I'm learning is that like player behavior is more important than theory. Like just understanding the people in the lobby is more important than the theory, because the theory quite often goes out the window. So we'll see what these guys do, but I think on paper your team will probably get walked over at the choke, so it's going to be on you to try and land big anti-nades to relieve that pressure, I think. Because if they get to walk through, they're going to get right on top of your Sigma, they're going to kill him very quickly, and if you're just there healing him, then it's going to be a bit of a problem, because I think you're going to lose that frontline war. So on that note, let's have a look. Any questions before we begin?
No, please put me out my misery.
Okay, let's have a look. So yeah, looking for that nade. A little bit early to start with, because he's clearly not already in the choke. So so far just a little bit of poking, the calm before the storm. The hook lands. That's a nice nade on the back of it. A good attempt. I don't think it antied the Rhine. I got the Diva, but it was a good attempt. Okay, now the Hanzo's looking at you. This could be a source of punishment. Have a look. Oh, unlucky. Bit of a Kobe. There's the Hanzo arrow, and that forces you to reposition. And both tanks are dead. Diva eats the... We'll watch like the whole first section, and then we'll comment. Be meaner, SVB. I just started stream, okay, so I'm not worked up. I haven't played enough ladder games to be fully mean yet. I need to channel my rage from hateful teammates. You did a good job juking, but I think you're still dead here. You probably should die sooner rather than later. Okay.
Yeah.
What was your take on that first fight?
Yeah, it was one of those ones where it just seems like your whole team just folds like a house of cards, and it's just like it seems to happen almost out of nowhere, and you're just like, I had a team, and now I don't.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, this is one of those occasions where I think if you don't land like a big impactful nade, like 2-3 player nade potentially, I think your team just gets walked over. Now, yeah, the first nade, like I said, was a little bit early. I think we go a little bit further back. Because basically the trick to this is, you know, they're going to come through one of two sections. Usually they go left, so I'm actually quite surprised that the team, this gold team, went right. Because usually when they go left, it's actually pretty straightforward to be able to just kind of land a nade when they get past this truck. And I think, again, when they're kind of going through this area, it's really nice to be able to, I think, splash a nade, like, against this wall somewhere. You understand what a splash nade is, right? Compared to a regular nade?
Yeah,
just to be clear. Okay.
Yeah.
And for anyone who in chat who doesn't understand, it's... Actually, why don't you define it then?
So it's it's when it you either splash it on like the floor or the wall, and it doesn't deal the contact damage. It will splash and it will get whoever's in, like, I don't know what the distance or the radius is, but it will get whoever's in that radius. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, it will still deal damage, but it's just not landing directly on them. You're kind of you know, usually you use the term splash because it's not, you don't even see the target directly necessarily. You're going to hit it against the wall and then it splashes from there on top of them. So, yeah. I think here, like, if they're going right, you probably want to splash the nade on that brick wall over here. And if they're going left, then it's much easier to just kind of directly do it. So a little bit early on the first nade. I'm sure we'll find stuff to be mean about. Don't worry, guys. We don't need to be arbitrarily mean. Second one is decent. Second one is decent. I think could have been better, but it was alright. I think this is where our problems start to occur. Because if I see the Hanzo, I would probably rotate right now. If I'm being honest. If I was you, and I see that Hanzo line up and try and hit me. Because he clearly was looking at you. Let's look at his POV. I think he clearly was looking at you. That already is that's basically a warning shot. Quite literally, right? So I think here, he's going to... Okay, maybe he'll just never see you. Now there, he's seen you. And there we go. There he had the first shot, second attempt. Again, if you saw from your... Was it perhaps insightful from his POV to see how much you were visible?
Yeah, very much so. You feel kind of like hidden when you're up and away.
Yeah, again, it's like, I think it's kind of a... it's not quite the ostrich situation, but you should kind of treat it as if they see you, or if you see them, they see you kind of thing. Sometimes you don't see them and they still see you. But in this case, I think when I see the Hanzo, like, it's kind of odd because from this POV, it looks like he's clocked onto you. And I think on his screen, you are there. Yeah, you are there on his screen. He's just not quite aiming at you, right? So, again, this is a little bit of a warning because when I see that, I'm going to already think, okay, can I get maybe down here to reposition or something? Just because I don't want to get... The worst thing that could happen is if I get one tapped here by the Hanzo, logged, and, you know, the fight's just over then. So you never really want that as a thing of support. Now, we're still going to have an opportunity. This is a nice nade, right? So this one causes them to pause, right? And I think here, this was a great opportunity to maybe get a kill. Unfortunately, you're out of ammo. Your ammo management actually is something to maybe think about, where you kind of hit a lot of shots before the fight has begun, right? So this happens a lot where actually, and I over reload, to be honest. If I have a problem, I over reload sometimes. But what I really like to do is anticipate the fight is going to start now. So before that happens, let me reload. So in this situation, I would probably be thinking, okay, well, the fight's going to start in a second. This is a good time to reload because when they, like, especially now, when they're pushing through the choke, I'm not going to have the luxury of reloading, right? So had we had the full clip now, I think we could have had a couple hits at this Hanzo. Definitely could have killed him here now, right? When the Ryan breaks, his shield breaks, this is a great chance to maybe sneak one shot off, finish what you started.
Yeah.
And then this sleep, unfortunately, it's a bit of a Kobe because at this very moment, there's a Reinhardt who, you know, his shield is broken because we saw it happen. And he's swinging on both, not one, but both of your tanks. And then he pins your hog and kills your Sig. So actually, what were very minor decisions. I don't think you made any egregious mistakes. But this is the example. Like, again, I felt this frustration recently when I'm playing and I'm like, wow, if I had missing one shot cost us this entire fight. And that can be both optimistic or deflating depending on your perspective. Like, it should be optimistic if you think, oh well, here's something I could have tangibly done to change the outcome of this game, or deflating if you're like, wow, I have to play that good, huh, just to win a game of Overwatch. But That's just how it is sometimes. So, yo, what up, Deku and Bay? Any thoughts putting these on YouTube? I'd love to watch a whole bunch of these in a row to learn for myself. Maybe this can go on the second channel. Yeah, maybe good shout, Bay. Maybe we can put this on the second channel. It wouldn't do well on the first, but yeah, we could put it on the second channel. And then here, you know, you eat that first shot from the Hanzo, and you're already on borrowed time. It causes you to run away. Honestly, at this point, I think you have to stay and fight because your both tanks are so critical that if you run away now, you know, the fight is over. So I think it's a lose-lose situation, right? We probably should have rotated sooner. But now that we're here, you just have to hope the Hanzo doesn't kill you, and you have to try and keep your tanks up. Otherwise, the fight is lost anyways, and by the time you rotate around, it's no point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, good awareness to go for the Mega. This one is a bit odd, because really, you know, you kind of threw it at the Diva's back, but she stepped back and DM'd it. This is where kind of just hitting it on the ground is a little bit more reliable. And maybe had you landed that nade, it could have been a fight turner, because your soldier does get the D-mech. Maybe you could have killed the Reaper too. But honestly, I think this fight is just, you know, it was over when you lost both tanks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they nano Reaper. You do some nice jukes, clearly. Watching enough of the SVB stream to get away from this for long enough. But, yeah, I think at this point you should just die, because it's 2 CP, so you're not really going to get much benefit from hanging around in the back line.
Yeah. Oh, my
Okay.
nanos. That's gonna. I feel like that's gonna be the.
Well, I very rarely find myself going too hard on someone's nano usage, considering it's, you know, while impactful, not game-changing. Oh, the bigger mistake there is dropping off. Slightly whiffed nade. We're just gonna watch for a little bit. Your bat popped off. Yeah, I think the bigger mistake, which happens sometimes, you know, you didn't quite have a conception of how far the ledge was, so you just kind of fell off. So here, you fall off, and that's actually quite potentially impactful because it puts you in line of everything, right? This is why this is so nice as a spot for Ana, because if it's like a Reinhardt or somebody walking down main, then they suddenly can see you, they can slam you, they can reach you. The Reaper, same. Whereas up here, I think you'd have a much better time, both as a safety precaution, but also, I think landing nades like this become a lot easier from a high ground vantage point. So definitely a little bit annoying that you dropped. And then here, I think you could have probably nanoed your hog. If I was you, I probably would have nanoed my hog, because I wasn't sure when that happened whether this fight would turn against you guys. Now here, you try and sleep dart the Diva, and then there's a Hanzo right above you, which again, I think you could have been up here to try and sleep when he comes on top of you, or would have come on top of you. And then another kind of mislanded nade. So they're all kind of smallish mistakes at the moment, but we have not gotten tremendous value out of our cooldowns yet, which is really half the battle as Ana. So we're gonna have to keep watching to see what maybe patterns we can find for why you miss these cooldowns. Does that make sense so far? Any questions?
Yeah. No, I'm a bit of a menace with my cooldowns sometimes. I'm not in a good way.
It's a pretty common Ana mistake. So I'm glad you're playing here, but yeah, I would recommend you play left side. Why left over right?
Because there's a mini?
No.
No.
Normally right side is the better side, because there is a mini closer on the right hand side. But why in this case?
Half round because of they can get around that way. They can't get around that way so easily.
No, I'm afraid not. You can also say you don't know. I'm glad you're guessing, but you can also say you don't know.
Please tell me.
So ordinarily this side is better because it has a little mini down here, which is a little bit easier to get up and down to. Mm-hmm. And plus this side can be a little bit more exposed. Like even if you're hiding here, sometimes people can get stuff here. But when there's a Hanzo, you get zoned out much easier here, right? Because this is the only angle you can peek from. So if you're standing right side and there's a Hanzo here, if you see from this POV, when he's standing here, all he has to do is just spam this spot over and over. And eventually when you peek, because you'll have to heal your teammates, you get killed. Whereas on this side, the luxury is that you can start here, which is still, you know, high ground. You can see the main. And should they step forwards and the Hanzo is now in LOS, you can go around the left-hand side and you can avoid that LOS. Can you see from like this kind of position, it completely locks out any sniper angles. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so that's just why. But again, at 2200, I wouldn't really expect it. Yeah, my man Spylo's coaching on the Spitfire now, so that's where he's at. Chat, FYI. Okay. Oh, very nice, very nice. Nothing wrong with that nano at all. Let's have a look at this again, because this is quite a lot happens in one singular moment. How's the nade land? Pretty decently. Nade lands pretty decently. Not perfect, but well enough. I think here you need to go for the kills. I think here, the biggest thing I can say that you did that would have definitely swung the outcome of this fight, because this is a great sleep dart, is that there's a lot of other shit going on right now. You see there's a Reaper top right, and there's the person I would try and kill right now is that anti-nade Hanzo. Because in these situations, it is really, really key to try and finish eliminations. And obviously your hog is anti, but even if he wasn't anti, I'd probably still be keen. Oh, nice. I'd still be keen on trying to confirm the limbs here, because especially... Oh, I don't know why you dropped. So on 2 CP in particular, and you're defending, every kill is, you know, worth its weight in gold. Another kind of wasted nade, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So why did you drop from your own POV?
You know what? Sometimes I know that high ground. I should be on the high ground. If I can be on the high ground without being harassed, without anything bad, I know I should be there. But sometimes I don't know what happens, but I just drop down. It's like, and I do the same on DPS, where I'll get closer and closer and closer to the people that I'm trying to shoot, because I'm like, I can't aim properly, so I'm just trying to get closer to them to make it easier for myself. When in reality, I don't need to, because I'm a sniper.
Yeah, it is a pretty common instinct where people like to drop to the low ground and you know, be right up in the face of things. But again, I think while yes, this dragon would have been very annoying and would have potentially snuck up on you, but I still think in general, being up here gives you much more options than being down here, right? Because not only does it make it harder for the Reaper to kill you, but again, you can kind of peek from here if you need to. You can rotate to here, all the way around. So there's a lot of options here, whereas here, it's just this one narrow area. The dragon is going to zone you guys completely, right? The tanks is staring at you. So it's not great, really. And I think your BAP was coming there as well. Like, your BAP was trying, I think, to come get you on high ground or come towards you. So that would have been nice for you guys to play from up here. Right, and I think another benefit is that had you not dropped, I think you could have healed him a little bit better. So that's definitely one sort of thing that we can say. This again, I think this is not the first time now that you kind of hit a teammate intending to hit someone behind. So just something to bear in mind. Okay, we got the Reaper. Looks like this fight is over. Good nade, good nade. Ooh. Okay, we got it. Good, good. Another benefit of being high ground is that stuff like that doesn't hurt us. Okay. Now again, I would really like you to reposition to the high ground again.
I do. Yeah, I worry like that. I'm gonna leave to reposition. Everyone's gonna die. I'm gonna come back to just dead teammates. I think at this point I'm spamming for everyone to fall back.
Well, we would hear it if you were, unless you were saying in voice chat, because we do hear like group up with me or whatever if you were saying it. But
oh, maybe not that. Not. I'm not listening. I'm only listening to the call.
Oh, sorry. Oh shit. I should be screen sharing with you so you don't have to deal with the delay. 1 second. Here you go. There you go. Now you don't have to. You can turn the stream off or mute it so you can watch it real time.
Ah, awesome.
Okay. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, because this happens a lot. Like, people will just push in like the metal ranks, and you know, you're like, oh god. But I do think you need to take this time to reposition. I think if you can start again here. Now they switched off of Hanzo to Soldier. You could stay here, or you can stay here. Not really worse than where you are, but again, protects you from when that fight eventually begins and people start pushing you. Although again, this being the metal ranks, people just can't help but push deeper and deeper and deeper and just fight outside the point and eventually die outside the point, like so. So in this case, you probably do have to run out. Yeah, we might need a high ground emote, guys. But you see, this is where the problems will really hurt now, because we're on the low ground, and as the team is backing up, it's not really anywhere safe for us. Okay, they survive. I don't mind that nano either, by the way. I don't think that was a problem. I'm glad you're using them liberally.
Yeah, that's something I hear you say a lot, is not to hold it.
Yeah, and I think the nano boosts help your Cassidy finish that kill off, so all good. There is someone top left. In fact, 2 people now top left. So I would like you to kind of, yeah, at least acknowledge them. Okay, there's the Kobe's again. I feel like you use your cooldowns off cooldown a little bit.
Yeah,
whereas, yeah, whereas definitely you have to, at least sometimes, hold them. Especially now, you're gonna find yourself in a little bit of trouble. Good nade. Again. What do you think cost you here?
The fact that I'm not on high ground and I didn't have my cooldowns, but no, I did have my cooldowns because I used them on him.
Yeah, you got your cooldowns back in time. I mean, it could have been worse because you could have maybe hit a better shot, or you know, another half a second you wouldn't have been able to get your nade off. And I think he probably could have killed you if he wasn't maybe slightly, you know, he wasn't gold. But I think it's the high ground again. Yeah, you see, he could have probably killed you there if he was tracking better. But I think, again, this is why, another reason why being up here is so much better, because you can see everything. You don't get pressured out by the soldier, which means you don't have to run away. And then when he attack visors, you just have to hide. So again, this would have been a bad situation even if you hadn't died. Like, if you were just here and he attack visors and you just have to hide there in the corner for a while, that's just not good anyways. But doubly bad that you step back out around the corner and just die.
Yeah.
You know, as much as we were kind of led to believe badly of your brig at the start, she actually does a great job there. She rallies, she kills their Rhine. Your Cassidy actually does a bit of a goof, which is to run away from the rally and then just dies. And then where your brig just goes, chases him down, shuts him out. So good job from your brig, actually. And again, if you were on the high ground, you would have been able to punish that Ana who was just chilling out there. Okay, let's just see what's happening as you return. So this time you go high ground, very good. I think that was a bit of a Kobe. I'm not sure you knew the Diva was coming. Let's have a look. Yeah, I definitely don't think you knew the Diva was coming. And I think in this case, it's probably better just to heal the soldier. You do sleep the Ana, which is nice. But I'm not convinced by... It was a very high risk, low reward kind of thing, I think. Because I think there's a lot going on here that probably needs more pressing attention. Like, sleeping the Diva might be better than sleeping the Ana, the nano boosted Diva. And I think then we look and we see there's a Mora coalescing. So I think both the nade and the sleep would have been better effective against those things. Oh, I think you had to like almost die for your brig there, to be honest. Or like, you know, really work hard to keep her up here. So I think you kind of give up there when I think you had the opportunity to continue to step, especially because you're so close to Nano. I think there's an argument to be made that if you weren't close to Nano, that you could have just been like, she's dead. But I think being so close to Nano, you have to keep your brig up because she is huge in a fight like this to have the second source of healing and the AoE healing on point. Does that make sense?
For sure, for sure.
And I think her presence would have been a real boon. Nice nade. Can we sleep the Rhine? Okay. We're tunneled here a little bit. I noticed you don't hip fire a lot.
Yeah. That's odd because I thought that was something that I did too much, but actually not doing it like at all.
Yeah, and I think this is a particular example where like the hip fire is just the scope is just not necessary here. Like even all of this, it's not necessary, right? Like here, like these are some good hip fires. And I think it would have been nice to try and sleep something before you peek around the corner, just because I know there's attack visor beginning. So sleeping the Reinhardt would be nice to allow, you know, him to deny his shielding and stuff. But yeah, here, like that shot on the Mora is fine, but here I think just hip fires would be helpful because you would be able to see whether the soldier needs healing, the Roadhog needs healing, or whether you have time to DPS. So definitely some hip fires would have been good here. And unfortunately, other times the Diva eats our nade. We drop on the low ground again. Oh, our brig dies.
I know.
Which again, I think was partly your fault. Because when she gets critical here, you have to reload, unfortunately, at the wrong time. Yeah, it's kind of unlucky and a little bit unfortunate. But again, just kind of like the little things. I think the Ana quickscope might be helpful. Again, I don't really expect a 2200 Ana to be quickscoping. I mean, of course, hit 10% more shots in quickscope would be great, but you know, one thing at a time. If you feel comfortable practicing your quickscoping, then go for it. But I think it's not pressing right now per se.
So there's bigger problems.
Yeah, well, it's a good skill to have, but again, I don't think not quickscoping is going to hold you back at 2200. I'm just not a huge fan of your position. I think you're not seeing a lot. You're quite narrow, and again, that threat of you don't see what's up here, for example, and the threat of someone walking on top of you is quite pressing. And yeah, they asked for the harshness rating. I haven't been too harsh yet because, to be fair, you're not doing a lot of crazy stupid things, and I'm just warming up. Like I said, I've just started the stream, so I'm not feeling very mean. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'll live.
Good nano on the soldier. Oh, they C9. Okay, that's nice.
Okay, so so far the nanos haven't been a problem. The thing that I thought that was a problem hasn't been a problem, but the other things, the positioning, I'm so worried about taking the time to reposition because the fight just never seems to stop. I'm scared that if I take that time, people are just gonna die.
Yeah, and I understand that, but that's also the flip side of it, is that there will never be a moment where it's comfortable for you to go run around, so you have to just time it. Like, as in, your team is never going to just chill out, right? They're never going to give you the luxury of like, okay, well, go ahead on a reposition while we chill out. So you just have to figure that out for yourself and say, I think there's enough time now for me to reposition. And I try to do that when I'm playing as well, when I'm like, okay, I think there's enough time here for me to rotate around the high ground. It is a judgment call, but I do think it's a I do think it will cause problems to not reposition. And yeah, I think in regards to not identifying the issue, here's a secret: no one ever does. No one ever has the right estimation of what they're doing wrong. If they did, they probably wouldn't be doing it wrong. So I very rarely, I ask because it's good to have an understanding of what the VOD reviewee thinks their problems are, but almost almost never does the VOD reviewee like, yeah, this is what I do wrong, and that's actually what their most pressing problem is. Do you know why I wins?
No. Oh, did I eat the fire strike? That's the second one I've eaten, isn't it?
No, you didn't eat the fire strike. You ate a junk rat mine.
Oh.
And then you naded yourself. You know how I feel about, the self-nade versus anti-nading, right?
Yeah, it's a waste of the nade.
Yeah.
But I knew my Zen was dead.
Yeah, but especially because you kind of walked into avoidable damage. So, and then here we Kobe again a little bit. Now the Ryan shield does break, but I'm not sure you knew that going in. This is tough. Do you think quickscoping could help with learning to juggle heals in between shots, reassessing who needs what? Yeah, I mean, it's definitely helpful for that, Lawrence. But like I said, I don't think at the moment juggling healing has been a huge problem for Shin. I think at the moment things have happened very quickly usually, so it's very rarely like there's a lot of people taking a lot of poke. Yeah, I think you're over obsessing a little bit with healing everybody up to full HP. Like, I think you need to... Go ahead.
No, sorry, please carry on.
I was gonna say, I think you need to look for more things that will allow your team to push in, right? Like a sleep on something that's sleepable, or a nade on the tanks or something. Because I think that This is one of the big issues that happens. And I don't think those kind of nades cut it. Like, I don't think just like stepping around the corner, just like blindly chucking it is good. Like, it's a pray and hope kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? No, we didn't sleep the Rhino, unfortunately, earlier.
I think when it's like when there's so much like just garbage, like Junkrat and stuff flying through the choke, it's hard. I find it hard anyway to like even be able to peek around the corner to do something.
Yeah, I mean it is a timing thing, and it's about trying to find that window of opportunity. But again, here, like your eyes are on the hog and then the Sigma. We're never even looking to see what's up. We're not really looking to see, because I think what I would be trying to do is potentially find an opportunity to sneak around into here and find that slightly more aggressive angle to try and nade stuff. Because sitting here forever is just like, it's gonna suck, right? It's just gonna be this all over. And again, there's another sort of Kobe hope and pray. And you kind of miss the one opportunity when the hog does get the hook. Right? Because you kind of hide around the corner again. Whereas I think maybe you can also consider just going a little bit wider. Rather than being closer, you could also go wider. If there's no Hanzo spamming, you can go where your Zen is gone and look for that angle rather than always just only going back or forwards, back or forwards. Jack has 5 pipes, so you can look for a nade in that downtime. Again, I don't really expect a 2200 player to be counting the Junkrat shots. I think that...
I'm lucky if I know there's a Junkrat on the enemy team. Like
well, yeah, I mean, that's like, you know, that's like 4.4k level shit. So yeah, literally twice your SR level shit. But to be honest, what I would do here, in terms of like tangible things, I would just nano one of my tanks and then look for the angle to get more aggressive, because otherwise you're going to be here forever. And so you always have to take the approach in a ranked game of like, if I don't do something, nothing will get done. And so I would just probably nano the hog so that he can just walk on forwards and also spam stuff better. And then look for a nade. Because staying here forever is just not good. Yo, what up, Boger? Oh god. And see, like all this time, mostly all you've done is just top up your tanks as they continue to take that same amount of damage again, right? Again, another nade, just essentially just healing the spam. We've gotten nowhere in 2 minutes, basically. Literally 2 minutes and nothing has happened of note. Just nano something, right? But don't run so far. No, okay. There's another thing a lot of people do. You don't have to run like, you don't have to run back to spawn to avoid the Junkrat tire. Just find a bit of cover and split from your, like just this corner is fine. If you're just here and you're looking here, this is fine. Because you can potentially shoot the tire, or you can nano the thing that tries to kill the thing. Or, you know, nano the thing that's trying to be killed by the Junkrat. What up, Boger? Shout out to SVB from Boger. Yeah, and I think again here you're missing a chance to potentially nano your hog as he's whole hogging. Hopefully he doesn't die. Nano him. You could still nano him. Okay, we're gonna get mean now. We're gonna start to get mean now because there's some real these are egregious mistakes, to be honest. You could still nano your soldiers at a very good angle. He's peeking. He's got attack visor. You've just opted out of this game now all of a sudden. Like, you're just literally not playing in the game anymore. You're just sitting there like healing up the spam. You could have had a second nano by now. I would be their Hanzo's about to have a second dragon. There's no reason you couldn't have had a second nano by now. And now unfortunately, okay, you have good. I was gonna say you have to sleep this diva for this visor to get any value. And even just the one kill on the diva is something. It's something. I think you could have just healed him, sort of nading him. Maybe we missed the nade anyways. Again, I really don't think that, like, healing, nading to heal is a last resort. It's like if I don't do it, they die, or there's nothing going on right now, so I may as well do it. Now that's a nade from their Ana. Like, that's a nade that swings the fight. It forces your transcendence. Again, another Kobe. How nice would that sleep dart have been? Yeah. Right now, when this Hanzo peeks around the corner and kills you. You don't have to sleep dart just because you have it. I feel like what I'm finding a lot with your cooldowns, like they're burning a hole in your pocket. It's like, Just having them is like a real nuisance to you. So you have like, even if you sleep that diva, what is the benefit? You're trying to kill them, right? Like you're trying to kill them right now. You want to kill them ASAP. And 4 of your teammates are looking at that diva. So what is the benefit even of sleeping that 5 of your teammates? There's no benefit to sleeping that diva, but there'd be a huge benefit if you'd slept this Hanzo. And if this fight turns against your team, I think it's your fault.
I think they win without me.
Okay, they do win.
Despite me, I should say.
Yeah, you know, so far in defense, you didn't really do any mistakes that were like costing your team. These were mistakes that cost your team. Like you, for like 2.5 minutes, you did like, you opted out of the game. You just kind of healed your tanks and hoped that they would do something. You didn't land a single good nade. You didn't land a single good sleep dart. You held your nano forever. And there, you kind of died in the one thing that actually tried to kill you. Okay, so again, when we talk about opportunities to look for better positioning, when 3 of your teammates are naded, might not be the best time to stand and heal them down main, right? This is a chance now to reposition. This is the chance to go, okay, let's go up the elevator. Because for, what, 3 seconds, whatever long the nade lasts, there's nothing helping these guys. So let's get up here. And when I get up here, I can now start to hit stuff that I need to hit. Instead, kind of opt into the low ground again. You're eating Moira orb damage. You nade the Zenyatta for, what, 50 heal? How much damage is the Zenyatta missing when you nade him? I think you healed him from a Moira orb. He's missing 70 HP. 1 shot. Literal 1 shot worth of damage he's missing. Maybe that nade would have helped save some of your teammates there. Who knows? Certainly didn't do much helping your Zenyatta. Okay, good. Oh, I was gonna say good juking. You kind of peeked out anyways, but okay. We survived. Yeah, on attack, you've completely opted out of the game, I have to say. You've just, like, ceased to participate in any meaningful way.
This is what I was talking about being too passive. This
is just like hoping and praying. You're just hoping and praying every time. Like, you're just chucking them in vague areas. They're not even, like, what I would describe as, like, okay, well, this is a likely area for stuff to be, like, you know, for this nade to be impactful. Because you can't always see where you're nading. Sometimes you have to just go on faith. But you're just, like, you know, just around the corner. No one's necessarily even there. Oh, God. The elevator just, like, juked us ourselves. Oh, can we get to him?
Get in there. Eventually.
I think at that point, I would just say, no, like, I would just not nano him at that point. Because it's like half his visor was gone. And the biggest impact of the nano visor is, like, the first 1 or 2 seconds before they necessarily run around to cover. Like, that deep in the visor, it's like it's already done what it's gonna do, kind of thing. And you have the chance to reload. Why aren't you reloading? Up the elevator. What are you doing? What else are you doing with your time? For real, Shin. Like, what else are you doing with your time here? Literally, fuck all. You're staring at this wall with 2 ammo. Like, yeah, I don't know. Why not? And now you're gonna need it in that crucial period of time when your teammates are dying. Can you sleep the Ryan who's nano boosted, maybe? No? No, not even an attempt. Not even an attempt. Why not try and sleep the guy who's about to kill your teammates, right? Why not try to sleep this guy right here? Because he's running out of shield. Right now. Please sleep him. Please. Right? Why are you trying to sleep the Moira? Again, it's like the Reinhardt who's nano boosted swinging on your teammates. Giant, easy, massive hitbox. Very easy sleep. Challenge not so impossible. Just sleep him. And shoot the Moira. Right? Much better. Much easier to do. Because it takes you like 20 hits to kill the Reinhardt. It takes you 3 to kill the Moira. So hit her 3 times. Sleep that guy. Looks much better. Again. You have the chance to duel the Hanzo. You hit 1 shot. If you nade him, you only have to hit 1 more. Instead, you opt to nade the hog. Look here, if you hit and then nade right here and then hit him again, he dies. Right? You know this roughly?
Roughly.
Well, I was talking about this a lot on stream yesterday, but there's a lot of these like breakpoints, as they're called, that you need to know. 2 hits and a nade will kill all squishies, basically, right? Like, it'll kill all 200 HP characters. So, if you hit a shot on someone and then you nade, and you shoot again, you should know that's gonna kill them. Right? So, that, like, in your mind, that should already be automatically what you should have thought. Is, I've hit 1 shot on this Hanzo. If I hit a second, he could die. With the nade, with the help of the nade. Right? And again, look at who you're targeting. Despite having... You know, let's even forget now the sleep attempt on the Moira instead of the Reinhardt. There's a full HP soldier, and you're trying to heal him still, instead of opting into the fight. You're not really trying to make a difference. You're just trying to exist and hope that your teammates will do the work. Right? There's a Genji deflecting in front of 3 people who we could try and help, right? We could be trying to help him. I don't know if this is a tunnel vision issue. I don't know if this is because you were you're only scoping, so you're missing some of the things. But again, you're kind of just like, yeah, I think it's the scoping issue. I think hip firing would have given you a much better picture here of who needed your most help. Right? But there's a Genji here deflecting. We don't opt into trying killing the Moira. We come to it too late. And then here, 1 nade. If I just keep watching this angle, nade here would catch the mid-roll Cassidy over here. And then when you hit this Hanzo 1 more time, which I believe, you kill him. This guy would also now be 1 hit. You kill him. And all of a sudden, it's your hog and yourself versus a baby diva and Ana and a far out of position Rein. Right? And that fight looks potentially different. Does all that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like so different watching it back than like in the moment where it's just.
Of course,
like,
yeah. Again, why did you sleep dart? Like, I ignore the fact that you sleep dart the wall. It's just like now if I was you, I'd be like, shit. If they walk on me, I'm dead.
I think it's because I know they're coming for me. So in my head, I'm like, okay, well, if I can make one of them sleep over there, maybe that will.
Well, the better thing is to force them to get towards you and then have the sleep as a an answer. Rather than sleeping them down main. And because if they're paying attention when you miss your sleep, that tells me there's nothing stopping me now. If you have your sleep, it might give me pause. If I was a diver, I might have pause about like, what if she has sleep? I push her. Can you do 2 DPS as gold support is not realistic? Question mark. Yeah, of course it should be. I'm not asking them to duel fucking Carpe and EQO, am I? I'm asking them to duel. If you're a support player, that's not an excuse to not be able to duel stuff, right? Like, they're also gold. Those DPS are also gold. So if you can't, let's say in a perfectly equal scenario, their kits might give you more of an advantage in a duel, right? If you're in front of the Cassidy, his flashbang, his roll is gonna give him an advantage. But you're on the high ground. You got the first shot off. You have the opportunity to basically cheat in the duel. If at that point you can't hit a nade in 1 more shot, then you don't deserve to climb, basically. If you're like, having gotten 1 free shot off on the Hanzo, I can't get a nade and a shot off afterwards, what are you doing then? Then stop playing Ana. Stop playing Ana then, basically. And don't expect to climb. And yeah, Ana is actually one of the better duelists in the game.
Ready to hang it up right there. We need to fall back and regroup.
We're not talking about the McCree ball rush. We're talking about the Hanzo. Secondly, the McCree when you rolled over was already half HP. So, can the armchair experts pay a bit more attention to the screen? Although perhaps that would explain why they are the armchair experts also stuck in gold. Okay. Now here I wouldn't mind you nading just because there's a lot of pressure on your tanks and we need to top them up. There's that. It's surprising how often, despite the fact that they don't have any divers, it's actually surprising how often your Kobe sleeps are getting you punished. Because you throw this out at the Hanzo, and I mean, I think there is enough noise that the diva's appearing, but also there's just that potential that she could come. Yeah, there's definitely enough noise to know that the diva's right there, and I think sleeping her would be far more impactful.
Yeah, it's I was aware that I wasted some of my cooldowns, but like not to like this extent.
Well, again, it just feels like basically you feel compelled to use it as soon as you have it. And while yes, Ana's cooldowns are very powerful, using them more often doesn't necessarily guarantee that they're gonna get more value, right? And this is the thing, like it's not really it's not like a, you know, the monkeys on the typewriter. It's not like if you throw enough of them, eventually one of them will write Shakespeare. It's more like you need to look for the right opportunities. The only time you can afford to just throw one random shit out is if there's nothing else happening. Yo, Bame, thank you for the cheer, man. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying this. Like, if there's nothing else, if you're like, basically the reason you have to, the thought process you have to weigh up in your mind, it's not always going to be as conscious as this in the game, but in general, the thought process should be, if I was to completely get no value out of this cooldown, would it fuck us over, right? And if the answer is yes, or the answer is no, it won't fuck us over, like it won't really matter, then you can afford to Kobe it. But if you're like, if I throw this sleep and miss, will I die? Then that's a problem, right? Like that's now a real tangible problem. And in this case, having heard the diva, the decision to sleep the Hanzo there is just like, well, you're dead now. And also in general, it's always good to have one cooldown available as Ana, because if you have a sleep, you can fight back. If you have a nade, you can extend your your life long enough to potentially get help or get your next cooldown back, or you know, a teammate comes around or something, or you run away to cover. So if you use both, so these are two hard and fast rules, right? The one that I told you about earlier about what to think about when you're using cooldowns. The other one being, again, make sure you have at least one cooldown available, unless you're super confident that nothing will come kill you right now, right? In the next how many ever seconds till the cooldowns are gonna come back. So just be very, very careful. Is that your soldier going for? Yeah, it is. Okay. Again, here we go. Just straight up, just throws it out. A slight Kobe there as well, but at least a little bit more cognizant with the nade on the diva. I think here the nano blade is actually way better than the nano visor. Was it a conscious decision to nano blade over visor, or nano visor over blade, or was it just you saw him doing it so you went with it?
I saw him doing it, so I went with it. And then the second that I did, I was like, "Oh no, we've got blade as well." I regretted that instantly.
Yeah, because I think the nano visor is good, but it's much more easily shut down than the nano blade, as we'll see here in a second. Which is that the diva just eats it all, I think. Or what actually happens to it? Because it doesn't get any kills really. They just LOS it, right? And it's the blade, ironically, that gets the kill on the Mora. And then he just kind of pumps. Like, so even the vanilla blade actually gets both supports. I wonder, I can only speculate what it might have done had, you know, that's been nano boosted. Good, big sleep. Unfortunately, you can only sleep one thing at a time, so the visor is gonna, or the high noon is gonna kill you. Good that you tried to kill the Hanzo there. At least good that you tried to kill the Hanzo. One piece of advice is that if you do drop, and I don't think dropping here is a bad decision, by the way. Like, I don't think you necessarily needed to. But thing about this point is that when you're playing support, you want to start here, but eventually when the fight moves to point, this isn't a great angle anymore because it doesn't really see half of what's going on, which is like this side. So actually, this spot is the one to go to, because where you drop is okay if you're gonna need the mini, but once you get transcended up, this is better because this sees everything. Again, this is not really different to here. How is this better than here? It's not really, right? It's the same angle essentially, but just slightly worse because you don't have high ground. So you kind of want to get here so you can see stuff better, and then you can always dip in the mega if you need to. And unfortunately, I think because you hard scope so much, you don't even see the Hanzo sneak up on you. Right, I do think we can hear the pitter patter of his sandals. It's very faint, to be fair, so I don't necessarily expect, amongst all the BS noises, for you to be able to hear the Hanzo. think at this point, yeah. Unfortunately, this fight is over. We just gotta get out. I think you need to get. Oh, well, maybe. Whoa! All of a sudden.
Yeah.
I still think it's a bait. Like those kind of things are a bait. I think at 30 seconds left, you should be thinking. I mean, your team. By you, I mean collectively, should be thinking. Let's get one more fight, people. Let's get one more fight. But that actually is a little bit of a debate. Those 2 kills might mean that you guys don't get another fight now. And again, he dives in 14 seconds. 10 seconds still left. This is a lot of time. People in gold. 10 seconds is a lot of time. And you should have just, I think there, you had to just run away. Maybe get a mega, heal yourself. You guys are going to die before the overtime contesting even starts. The overtime starts now and half the team are dead. Like the Soldier, D.Va, and Ana are dead before the overtime even began, so...
And I didn't swap to a fast hero as well because I thought there wasn't any point.
I don't think it was going to make a difference. I think you guys are dead in the water here. Don't think you'd even... Well, let's see. Who knows? It is gold. Fights do last a while. I mean, maybe you would have made it, but yeah, I don't really think if you're Mora and you get here, are you really going to turn the fight? I don't think so. So, I think so it's interesting because your defense and attack were very different. Like on defense, I think your biggest issue was that you were, the scoping is a common issue, is a prevalent issue, and your use of like pre-fight positioning was an issue, right? Where you kind of didn't adjust according to what you were seeing. So here again, the high ground should have been where you were the entire time, I think, as often as you can. And there, on this point, it was when you were kind of scoped in here, and then the Hanzo started shooting, and you didn't think about getting here quickly enough. On attack, it was much different. On attack, you just kind of opted out of the fight a lot. Where you just stopped using your cooldowns with any real intent or purpose. You were just kind of throwing them and hoping. You just kept shooting at your tanks. You know, you were holding your nano boost. You held your nano boost on first point till like... What was the time that you actually use it? Yeah, 2 minutes 10 is when you use it, right? So that, again, I think you can probably... Especially when they're spamming as heavily as this, you could probably build a nano a minute. Right? So you could have definitely gotten 2 by now. And forced the issue, but it's still until this point I don't think we had landed a single really important cooldown. So I think cooldown usage and scoping and positioning are the 3 things we gotta really hone in on. So really try and find a reason to sleep and nade stuff, right? There's gotta be like a particular thing that you're trying to sleep or nade, unless you feel so confident that, again, should you blow this cooldown, it'll be fine, you know, you won't be dead. So that's the only caveat where that's allowed. And positioning, again, try and anticipate where the fight's going to happen. Try and find a better angle to see everything. Particularly high ground is, you know, doesn't have to be high ground, but often high ground is good. And yeah, I think obviously quick scoping is great. If you can practice it, great, nothing like it. But just hip firing a bit more as well, rather than always hard scoping, will help you see a bigger picture in the fight. Because I think quite often you missed a few things that were crucial because you were so heavily scoped in and tunneled. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, do you have any questions about anything?
Oh, I don't think so. I've got loads to go and work on. Thank you.
Well, good. I'm glad it'll hopefully be helpful for you. Let me know how it goes, and yeah, keep us informed about, you know, how the progress is going for you, whether you feel like it's helping, not helping. Because again, sometimes, you know, we do a VOD review and someone will be like, this has really helped. Sometimes those, you know, we have the opposite effect, what we call the pendulum effect, where, you know, you start to overcompensate. Like maybe there'll be occasions now where you just hold the cooldowns forever, or, you know, like you start going too aggressive. That's fine. That's normal. Like experiment and play around with it and see what happens. So yeah, thank you for, you know, putting your gameplay up for review and being potentially roasted, although I think I didn't have too much occasion to be harsh. But yeah, thank you for putting it up there.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was really helpful. Thank you.
Dauphin, sorry, how would I pronounce it?
Dauphin.
Dauphin, okay. Welcome. Thank you for joining. For the benefit of myself in stream, could you yeah, kindly introduce yourself, like who you are, what you play, and, you know, what your Overwatch history has been.
Okay, so I'm Dauphin, and I've been playing since season 12. I started out in gold, and just recently I got to diamond. I mostly play Ana, and yeah, I mostly play Ana. like 600 hours of Ana.
Wow, very nice. And you are on PC, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna import your code. For reference, what harshness rating do we want?
2.
2? Okay, got you.
Please be gentle.
No, it's okay. It's completely, it's your VOD review, so it should be to your taste. So, okay, 2 it is. So, again, the same kind of questions that we asked Shin, but what is like your FPS history? Like, have you played a lot of FPS? How do you feel about like your aim and the mechanical element of that kind of stuff?
This is actually my first like competitive game, like completely. So from where I have been, from where I used to be, like I'm actually proud of where I am right now. It's not great, but I'm happy with what I have.
Hey, don't need to caveat it. Like, you should be proud. Like, be proud of your achievements, right? You know, you wanted, presumably you wanted diamonds for a while, so
Yeah.
get that diamond, man. You know, you got it. Congratulations, you earned it, and it's good that you're continuing to push forward. So, don't have to, you know, caveat it. It's great. It's great what you've done. So, on Ana, what do you think are your strengths and weaknesses? Like, how comfortable are you in terms of like understanding the character of Ana? Like, you've played a lot. But how do you feel like in terms of your understanding of the character and, you know, all the nuances that come with it?
To be honest, I don't feel really comfortable because there are situations where I feel overwhelmed. So like I still feel like there's like stuff to improve there.
Okay, so that's a good touching point then. So you feel overwhelmed sometimes. What do you, when you say overwhelmed, in what way? Like, there's too much on your screen, too much to manage? Like, what overwhelms you?
Yeah, I guess too much on my screen, and sometimes like if I'm out of position, I'm panicking about like where should I go, what should I do, like that.
Okay, and do you think that's kind of the biggest thing holding you back at the moment?
I'm not sure. I don't know really. I'm just happy to improve any way I can.
Well, that's great. It's a great attitude. And on that spirit, what do you think is the stuff that you do well? Like, what do you think is stuff that you're like, yeah, I'm pretty confident about this. Like, this part, I think I do well.
I think that I am pretty good with like being aware of sound cues. Like I can hear, like I'm aware of footsteps, and I can pick out if someone is behind us in that heat of battle, something like that.
That's good. That's good. That's a very good skill to have because that's tough to train. So if you've got that down, then that's good. Okay, well, let's get to the game specifics itself. So looking at your comp, let me see if your teammates will pick. Okay, so there's a Mercy as your other healer. So looking at your comp first and foremost, how do you see your role as Ana in this comp?
Tank healer and fat nades.
Good, yeah. I mean, for sure, you're gonna want to heal your Winston a lot. Anything else you're gonna consider in terms of your team's POV? Like, just run me through how you think this comp will operate and win the game potentially.
Like the monkey and Diva will take high ground. The Diva will dive squishes. I mean, the Genji will dive squishes. And the Mercy and Ashe will deal poke damage.
Yeah, I think basically what the most pertinent stuff for you is the Mercy and Ashe are kind of their own thing, right? Like they'll probably operate independent of everything else. So you probably don't need to worry too much about them. Obviously, should one of them become critical or something, you may need to. But yeah, your main priority is probably the Winston. If you can heal the Genji, that'd be great. If the Diva needs healing, obviously do that. And then your nano boost, you have 2 good targets depending on how the game is going. You know, potentially we can nano Winston. If the Genji's building ults quickly enough, we can nano him. If he's building it slowly, we can kind of alternate where we can get 2 nanos in the time he gets 1 blade, potentially. It really depends on the context of the game. In this situation, I would probably like nanoing Monkey and vanilla blading, but, you know, sometimes Genjis are greedy and they demand the nano. Out of context, like, were you in voice chat? Were you communicating? Like, was this Genji saying anything to you or any of the teammates saying anything to you?
Not really, but I do call outs. Nobody speaks, but I do try to communicate with the team.
Okay, Cool. That's good to know. And maybe we'll ask later what those callouts were. Now, before we get into the game, looking at the enemy team, what do you think how do you think your character interacts with them and them with you?
To be honest, I just need the enemy team.
You just need them, sorry? You mean nade them?
Nade. Yeah.
That's kind of your only thought process?
Yeah. Make
Okay.
them like purple and make sure like our tanks can like kill them.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, well, that's great in theory. You know, why I bring this up is it's important to understand how, you know, your cooldown usage and your target focus will change based on what they're running, right? So we were talking to Shin about like the comps and stuff and potentially like what threats might be upon you. So it's really important actually, especially now that you're diamond. I think less so for someone like Shin who's in gold. You know, there's a lot else going wrong before we need to start thinking about those things. But now that you're in diamond, if you want to climb to master, we really need to start thinking about, okay, well, what are they running and how will that change how I play? Because for example, let's say that because they have an Ana too. For her, it's a completely different equation than what it is for you. For her, she needs to be very aware that she's going to have to sleep, probably the Winston, potentially the Genji. And so she cannot afford to waste her sleep dart, right? Like at any moment, a Winston could come flying up and try and jump her, right? And she can potentially try and sleep him midair if the D.Va isn't DMing him, which would probably be tough, especially in Diamond. And once he lands, you know, she got to play around the bubble. And potentially by that point, the D.Va will have arrived to DM. So that's something she has to bear in mind. And then there's the Genji equation, you know, she might be dealing with blades, nano blades, just the Genji diving her vanilla. So all of these are factors that affect when and how you use your cooldown. So while it's great to want to nade the enemy team, you need to think about how that's going to happen. In your case, now there's two shields in your face, right? Potentially there's a Rhine shield and the Sigma shield. So it might be that you will need to find an angle around the two shields to land these nades that you want to land. Now, the soldier shouldn't be too much of a threat. The Hanzo could be a threat if you hard scope a lot. Same for the Zenyatta. Like, he could potentially, you know, right-click you across the map. So, you don't have any divers to worry about. So, that means you could probably aim for a bit more long-range sleep darts and a bit more hopeful sleep darts. But you will need to bear in mind, like, how you get that nade around an angle. Does all of that make sense? Do you have any questions?
Not really.
Okay, cool. I hope that not really was to the questions and not really making sense.
No.
Okay, cool. If you have any questions at any point, just say it and we'll stop and we'll talk about it, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So there's a Sonic on the door, but looks like the Hanzo isn't shooting us. Okay. Okay, you're keeping an eye on your Winston. Good, we're not peeking around the corner, that's good. Oh, your Genji's already gotten a kill. We're just gonna watch for a little bit. I've screen shared with you as well, so you can kind of watch that. And we'll see what happens, and then we'll kind of discuss what could or couldn't have been done. Very quick nano, used very quickly, great. Oh, good sleep. Good attempt on the nade, doesn't land, but that's okay. Okay. So that first little bit, what are you happy with, like, kind of your performance? Is there anything that you feel before I say what I think you could have done differently? Is there anything that you're like, yeah, at SVB, I wish I'd done that differently?
I am always like wondering what I should be doing in the bit before that bridge.
You mean like this area here, like this little path?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think in this comp, you just push the payload. By the way, just to quickly answer the question in chat. Yeah, these are channel VOD reviews. I think these were given by Wilder and Lawrence, respectively. Like, they raffled their points away. So, yeah, these are viewer VOD reviews redeemed by that form. Otherwise, again, the exclamation mark VOD command will bring up how you get one like this. Yeah, I think you just play behind the payload and, you know, let it push. Now, here's a couple things that I want to talk about. Firstly, we were talking about this with Shin as well. finding the time to reload is really important as Ana, because you don't want to be reloading when your team needs it the most. And this is what's going to end up happening. So here, you're reloading as your Winston goes critical. Like, he goes very low. How low does he go? 43 HP. And you're reloading at that time. And that's not a surprise, because you're like spam healing him as he's around the corner and safe. Again, so have you watched like some of my recent streams and stuff? You can say no, I won't be offended.
No.
Okay, so one thing I was really talking about, I think yesterday, for example, is that you don't need to heal everyone up to full HP. You just need to heal them up so that they're not dying, right? So in this case, once your diva gets her armor HP back, I think you're okay to take a second. Like here, you're okay to take a second to reload, because you can see quite clearly, or I could feel quite clearly, that your Winston's going to jump. I think he even starts a countdown. I'm not sure. He does it before his first jump for sure. Let's just have a look. Yeah, he does the 3, 2, 1. I don't think he does it the second time, but you can kind of see by his shape that he wants to jump. So we'll watch here, right? As he's looking at you, he's kind of checking to see, and you can see this when he steps forward like this, that's a clue to you that he's gonna jump, right? So even now, I think you have the chance to potentially reload so that when he lands, you're in a position to heal him. So that's first and foremost, right? Does that part make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, I think you should always nade his back in this situation. Like, I think you should throw a nade and try and aim it at his back, because what will happen is, firstly, it will heal him, and it'll make it easier for you to heal him afterwards, because he's going to take a lot of damage here. And in an ideal scenario, it'll nade this Rhine, and then this, what is otherwise a tempo jump, you know, he's just jumping to pressure, could potentially be a lethal jump. So does that make sense? Because you actually hold your nade for this entire bit.
Okay, can you repeat that bit about the tempo jump?
Yeah, so basically, in theory, in correct theory, he's not really going to get a kill here. Now, it's different by the fact that your Genji dashes in and kills the Ana. But when your Winston jumps here, there's not really a realistic way he's supposed to get a kill, right? Because the Zen should be able to Harmony Orb anything that could die. As you can see, it's very difficult for him to kill the Reinhardt. So this jump is not to kill. It's simply to buy time for the payload to push. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay, so what I mean is, once you land the nade, now it's much easier to kill the Reinhardt potentially, right? Because not only does it do damage to the Reinhardt, but now the Zenyatta can't heal the Reinhardt, and your Winston might be able to finish him off. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Great. So I think those two things there, because unfortunately you end up reloading and both your tanks go critical, and had you naded their back, you would have gotten a good amount of ult charge. So I would always recommend, if you see a Winston jumping like this, it's a really good idea to just hit the nade at their back. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Cool. Now, I do appreciate that you ignore the Ashe. I think this is a good call, because she says, I need healing, and you ignore it, and I think it's the right decision, because that's the Mercy's responsibility. However, later we're going to see where you should have checked. And again here, I still think you could be looking for a nade. Again, he goes, right? So that's 2 jumps now. I think, look here, now you can even see the Reinhardt. If you nade him here, he dies 100%, right? So I really feel like you could have used your nade. I'm glad you didn't just throw your sleep out for nothing, but again, I think it would have helped you heal these guys up better. And I think that it would have potentially been a kill potential. This is I'm really glad you just used your nano early, because you see, as we spoke about earlier, your Genji's a precisely 50% ult charge. So if we continue at this level, then you'll have the next nano by the time he has Blade. So this times out perfectly. So this is great use of the nano boost. Now here, the Ashe says, somebody get me some healing, and this time I think you should check. Can you explain to me why you think I'm saying that?
No, actually, I can't think of it.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. So the reason I'm saying that is that earlier, so let's compare the two situations to really try and help illustrate why they're different. I think it's around here. Just gonna wait and hear that sound. So there you go. There's the I need healing, right? So your Ashe says I need healing, and in this frame, as you can see, your Winston is jumping in, and he's quite critical. He's got a Discord orb on him as well, but that's a lot of information to process in one snapshot of a second. But he's critical, and he's, you know, it's your job primarily to heal him. So it would be a probably a mistake to potentially turn away, and then suddenly by the time you look back around, he's dead. So in this case, I can justify you just not even looking at your Ashe, right? We're gonna see it again in like a few seconds. Just around this corner, once you get the nano boost, you're gonna do it again. Okay, so now the Ashe is somebody get me some healing again. Now, any clue, or would you want me to explain why it's different this time?
Still can't figure it out.
This time your Winston is nano boosted and he's full HP, right? That's the difference
Oh,
this time.
Okay.
So you don't need to... Let me ask you this. Is there any chance realistically that these guys die if you were to spend a second looking away?
No.
Right? There's
No.
no way. You've killed 3 people, right? The kill feed tells us that the Reinhardt, the Hanzo, and the Zenyatta are dead. It's 1 Sigma, 1 soldier. Even if we don't know where he is, let's say even if he was right here. Sigma, soldier, and an Ana. Are they capable of killing a Winston and a Diva in 1 second? Potentially. Or like, let's say 2 seconds.
No.
No, right? So therefore, you now have time to respond. Well, that was an obnoxious noise. You have now time to respond to when your Ashe says, I need healing, and just look around. Because unfortunately, I don't know where the Ashe or the Mercy is from your POV. I just genuinely don't know. And while it's great that you're trying to get this Ana, again, you see I need healing comes out from the Genji, and you pay him no attention now. Right?
Okay.
And again, because these guys are dead. The Sigma, the Ana, they're dead. There's no way they don't die to your 2 tanks. But I need to make sure none of my team die as this fight ends. And what ends up happening? Out of your picture, the Mercy, or the Genji dies first. The Mercy goes to help, and I think she's going to die now too. By the time you look around, unfortunately, you're reloading again, and she dies. Right? So, does it make sense? Because that soldier got 2 kills. If they recontest now, it's winnable. Does that make sense why that little, like, negligence could be
okay.
impactful?
Yeah, I can see that.
And this is the thing about juggling heals, right? That's what we call juggling your targets, because you have to make that decision all the time as a support. If I look away from this person, will they die? If the answer is yes, then don't look away, or make the look away as short as possible. If the answer is no, then feel free to check your surroundings to see what's up. Because I think in this case, you would have seen that your Ashe and Mercy were dying. Oh, that's a really nice nade. Oh, I thought we got the Reaper too.
I think he rage forms it out of it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Now, do you know why you die there? I don't mean literally because you got pinned, but you know, like, what causes you to get pinned and slammed?
Shatter.
Yes?
I was right behind Diva, and Ryan saw that he could shatter both of us.
Yeah, you were not in cover, right? Is another way of putting it. Like, 'cause I think you wander out into the middle because you want to push the cart, but you're not. You could be right here, right? Instead of here, it's not much worse being here, right? Or if you want to peek that, you could be here. So at least you have something to hide behind. Should this Reinhardt come around with slam, right? Do you see it from this POV now that you're just not in cover ever?
Yeah.
Or you could even have been here, right behind the statue. The statue would have protected you. The payload is never really reliable cover for this reason, that if eventually they'll step onto it and now you're screwed. So had you been in cover, you could have dodged this slam and then very easily landed some cooldowns on the Reinhardt, and you could have confirmed this fight quite easily. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
He would still be shattered in that room? How? How can you get shattered in here? If you're here, how would you get shattered? Oh, shatter works with different rules? That's true. Sometimes it do be BS. So yeah, if you'd done that, let's see, does your team... Wow, your team is struggling now to push this in. Let's have a look what happens. The Reaper just standing there. Wow. That's kind of funny. Okay, we got there in the end. Nice. I really would want to see you go to the high ground potentially, but it's okay. Why did the cozy emote not work there, Lucia? Is it? I don't know, that's weird. Oh, okay. Why do you think you die here? And again, not literally because this flux, but why?
I was too close to the cart.
Yeah, pretty much. And also you just scoped in, so you don't even see it. I don't think you even see the radius of the flux. Yeah, so you're not even in the radius of the flux. Or you don't even see the radius of the flux. You don't even know if you could get out of it, right? You just continue to stare up, and then you suddenly, before you know, you're getting lifted. And again, I think if you were near cover, you had a chance to... Do you know that flux works based on line of sight as well?
No, this isn't actually new for me.
So if you were standing here, you wouldn't be flux, because the way the flux works is that this little black hole, you have to be within the line of sight of it. Wow, that's pixelated. So if you were here, you would not get lifted. So again, if you were, let's say you were here, when you see the flux go out, this is where it all comes together, right? If you were here and you had seen where the flux's, circle was, you could have quickly gone around this and you wouldn't have been lifted, and then you could have peeked back and you wouldn't have been in any threat. So again, the benefit of kind of finding that little bit of cover is that it, it saves you from all of this crap. That's 2 ults you've died to now that weren't necessarily, meant for you specifically. Like, they didn't have to hit you, but they did because you were in such an open position that the person was like, yeah, actually, I'll just go get that Ana then. Got Nano. Again, we're not in cover, I'm afraid. Well, good try on the Reaper. Okay, now you do get dove pretty hard there. But again, if we watch your POV, or you watch from third person POV, you're once again never in cover. Right? Like, you're in the open, in the open, in the open, in the open, still in the open. And so when the Reaper comes, again, he gets a few free shots on you. If you were here already, he would never have been able to just immediately get on top of you like that, right? So you would have had more time. Then by that time, maybe you're deep. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I was worrying about not being able to stick the nano.
Which is a valid, it's a valid concern. But again, from here you can see the Genji, right? Like, this is the thing about cover, is that once you peek any at all, you can see the whole picture, right? From here, you can see, like, is this significantly better in terms of vision than here?
No, not really.
Right, so there's no real reason not to just be that little bit tighter to the cover, so that you can, when stuff happens, right? Because again, it's not really helping you to be here, especially because or presumably you should anticipate, he's gonna dash like this, right? Like, that much makes sense. Like, he's gonna dash up here, right? So as it is, he's gonna go further that way. So if you're this angle, he's definitely gonna come up into this LOS, right? So there's really, I appreciate why you're afraid of it, but there's no reason to be afraid. And this is why finding good line of sights is universal. Once you find that line of sight, it'll never be bad. If you've anticipated the fight properly, that line of sight will never be bad, because things will happen exactly where you're already looking. So again, if you are behind cover, you'd be a little bit more healthy. And I think from here you should probably try to retreat towards like the mini, or just away from this action, I think. But unfortunately, you stick around a little bit too close to the Reaper and the Monkey, but that's okay. You get rezzed up. Everybody else is dead. So. Everybody needs healing. Life of a support. Again, here I would really like you to get to higher ground, because earlier I said you should, but then I wasn't too firm about it, because no one else is really pushing. When your diva's here, I want you to take the time to like walk up and get to like here. Does that make sense? Do you know why?
Downtime.
Elaborate, please.
Like, there's nothing going on, and it's better to get on a good position.
Yes, exactly, right? There's nothing going on. The diva's pushing payload. 2 on cart is not significantly better than 1 on cart. And if you're up here, once the fight starts, it's going to be really comfortable for you. You're going to be able to scope on everything. There's no real threat to kill you. So this would be really, really helpful. It will really avoid you having to make tough decisions in the middle of the fight in terms of, oh god, someone's diving me, someone's trying to kill me, yada yada yada. And well, I think we're about to see the demonstration of that. Oh, nice. Good attempt. Good attempt. And here we go. There's the demonstration number 1. Winston just gets to walk on top of you for free. Oh, good heal juggles. Really good. That was perfect. This is a perfect example of like, just keep everybody up enough. Right? So, there's other stuff I want to talk about, but here, you hit her once, and then you look away. That's perfect. Because you've kept her from dying to the Winston. And especially because of the Mercy with her. So, you turning and healing the Genji is perfect. Perfect decision making. Again, we're a little bit lax in terms of cover. Can always go cover to cover, right? Simple. I don't want to have to mention it too many more times. Always just go from cover to cover. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right, so if you're here and then you have to drop here. If you have to go away from here, we either go like to this corner or like this corner, right? Always like find a corner or somewhere that has a health pack. Never just wander into the streets. Again, much like crossing the road. Always get from one end to the other. A little bit of a Kobe, but it does connect. Nice from your Winston. Just gonna keep watching for a little bit as this fight evolves. Okay, well, initially I was gonna say you should use your nano, but in the end you were vindicated in not using it. Okay, so it seems like you're mid-fight, like, you know, you're landing a decent amount of abilities, a good amount of healing, you're aware of stuff, so that's all good. The couple things I want to talk about is, remember at the start we spoke about like how their comp interacts with you, and we spoke about all of that, but now it's completely different because they're running a completely different comp. Now they're running Winston, D.Va, and Doomfist. So now your sleep dart is your life, potentially. So we're gonna see you use a couple sleep darts that I really think you shouldn't. So here's number 1. Now, if you sleep this Winston, is that going to be... Well, in this situation, you could argue that he's killing my Ashe. But I think the bigger issue is, if you sleep this Winston and now someone gets towards you, can you stop it?
No.
Right? You can't, because you don't really have any recourse. I mean, you can nade them, but you can't stop them, really, right? So there's a threat here. And we're going to see again, I think it's the Winston you try to sleep later. Let's speed it up a little bit. He's going to primal, I think. And you're going to try and sleep him. Here we go. Yeah, so he's going to primal and you're going to try and sleep him. Now, there's 2 things to this. One, when someone's getting like focused by 4 people, sleeping them is essentially like a flashbang, right? Because you know it's going to put them down, they're going to go immediately up because everyone's shooting them, right? So if you think, oh, flashbang is really effective here, like, you know, the flashbang sleep dart is really effective, go ahead, do it. But what I would say, when you're up against a dive comp, which is what this enemy team is, right? It's got the Winston, the D.Va, the Doomfist, perhaps even the Reaper. All people who might just get on top of you at any moment. If it's not trying to kill you, don't sleep it. Right? And you know why?
Because I die easily.
Yes. Because eventually it'll try to come kill you. And if you don't have the sleep dart, then you die. Right? As we saw earlier, when you know on the second point, when the Reaper dropped on top and you missed the sleep, you just died, right? Because if you don't, that's what it comes down to a lot, is Ana. When you're playing against dive comps, it literally comes down to you sleep them, you live, you miss the sleep dart, you die. Right? So if it's not trying to kill you, then you probably don't need to sleep it, because whatever it is, you can heal the person that is being fought, right? So let's say the Winston is primal juggling your Ashe or your Genji. You can heal them for the damage that the Winston is doing. But if you sleep him and then something gets on top of you, you can't now heal yourself, right? Other than the nade. So you can't help yourself. So this sleep dart, if he now, and it's going to happen now, right? Now the D.Va and the Winston both come for you. And it's not a coincidence. It's a very good chance that they heard or saw you use the sleep dart and thought, okay, well, I can now kill the Ana. He juggles you away from your nade, and had the Mercy not come to heal you, there's a good chance you die here, right? And of course, you can't rely that the Mercy will always come help you. So there's a very realistic possibility that you die there because you tried to sleep something that wasn't really threatening. It wasn't going to kill your teammates, right? It wasn't going to kill them.
It wasn't immediately threatening to them, right?
Perfect, exactly. It didn't need to be slept, right? That's kind of maybe a better way of thinking about it. Does this need to be slept? If the answer is no, then if you're up against a dive comp, then don't use your sleep, right? So the rest of it is all pretty good. Again, I would caution about your positioning. You're quite out in the open. But the rest of it, again, you're landing your hits, you're landing your cooldowns. All of that is really good. You're, managing your heal targets well. All of that is good. So just that like little bit of discipline that will make a difference in the long term in terms of how many games you live and versus how many games you start dying. I think you can just Kobe a nade over the top here. I think you can just try and throw a nade here because you can see their teammates are all fighting in this kind of area. So if you just throw a nade over the top, I think
I do. Wait, no.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would have been good because by now you'd probably got it back. Oh, great sleep. Good nade. I think that you've done as much as you can. I mean, maybe you could have naded yourself along with the Doomfist potentially, or just backed up and naded yourself. But you did a good job sleeping him. Yeah, I think just slightly lower down and you would have naded yourself and the Doomfist. I think that would be ideal situation because then the Mercy would amp heal you, right? The damage, the healing that she's giving you would be amp. And you might live to this Doomfist. You did a good job sleeping him. You nanoed the Genji, so that's all good. Yeah, I'm not sure there the Reaper needed sleeping necessarily because he wasn't, I don't think, going to kill you at that moment. You had your nade, but it's fine. Now they switched to Hog, so getting your cooldowns on this guy is huge. My friend turned off somehow. She doesn't hear that I need healing. It could be the squelch. She might have squelched chat if it's you specifically, because you can squelch chat and that blocks the voice lines coming up. So check that option. I can't think of like a global way to do it. Good damage. Can you sleep the Hog? Good attempt. Again, you're a little bit out of cover, which I think the Reaper's gonna. Oh, okay, that was not good. Yeah. So firstly, I think you're not in cover again. If we just pull back, you're not near the cover. You're not near, let's say this corner, this mega, even this corner, right? If nothing else, you could just be a step closer back so that you can. Because the benefit of this is that you can use it to like juke around the corner, right? You can kind of like hide around the corner for a second. And now here, I think this is pretty obvious. Go ahead.
I know positioning is relative, but in that particular area, like which cover would be preferable?
I think if you just puddled here, it would have been fine. I think because you're hard scoping, potentially. Where does this Reaper come from? Let's have a look. He comes from top. Yeah, he comes from top. So you should have kind of seen him, right? Or does he come from? Where does he come from? Yeah, so he, potentially, if you weren't, I think you're hard scope, which is why you don't see him, right? Yeah. So I think at 3100, I would say we need to start mixing in some quick scopes, right? Because the problem with hard scoping is stuff like this, where I think let's just stay in this LOS. If you were staring at it like this, you would see the Reaper start the teleport animation on top of you, and that's huge notice.
Yeah.
Right? I think actually in hindsight, maybe getting to here where the mega is could be helpful. That's definitely hindsight. I think ordinarily I would say this is fine. And I think the mistake, I'm sure you recognize it yourself. You naded him before he finished Wraith. You panicked, I think. And the Doomfist comes on top as well. And I think this is like, you're meant to die here. It's a Death Blossom and a Doomfist diving you. I don't know how you're supposed to live there. So I think we can accept your death, but that was a fairly, self-explanatory mistake. You can also, if you feel like the person isn't going to instantly kill you, you can like wait a second on the nade as well. Like I think what you want to do is let him finish his Wraith, shoot, nade the floor and yourself and him, and then get that third shot off, and then it'll be a fourth shot. The Reaper is 250. But
Yeah.
you know, I think even if you hit 2 shots, he's gonna feel really pressured. And if someone else comes, and you know, 10 other all it requires is for anyone else to do 10 damage, and he would just die to the 2 shots. So yeah, a bit of composure there would have gone a long way. I think, yeah, here you probably have to prioritize healing your Mercy. Like when Doomfist comes uppercutting in, I think you just have to heal your Mercy. I think sleeping the Doomfist will take too long. You just have to try and heal your Mercy, I think. Like you either sleep him as he's coming in, or you just prioritize the Mercy. And then I think there, you're just not close enough to cover. Be ready to juke a corner here is my advice to you. Okay, he's gonna... Okay, he's fucked off, that's fine. This is where quickscoping would be great, because you could take these shots on the Reaper without losing sight of the wider fight. Like, I think these should all be quickscopes, to be honest. 1, 2, 3, all of them should probably be quickscopes. Because you don't want to lose sight of what else is happening. I think, again, you need to get to cover here. So if you're crossing from here, you need to maybe cross to this and then this, you know, almost visualize like if you're playing like a platformer game and you're dashing across these gaps, right? Like you have to dash from here to here and you have to dash from here to here. And if you stick around in the middle, you just fall into the pit and die. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? Think of it like that. Think of it like, you know, there's lava, floor is lava, and the only protection is corners. So you have to go corner, right? And there's a mini here, so this is really helpful to play along. So when stuff starts happening above you there, I think you need to start retreating into this mini. Great sleep on the Roadhog. Unlucky with a nade. Again, see how nice and cozy this little mini room is, right? It protects you from the Roadhog. There's a mini there if you need it. Again, I think maybe play here. Right, so you can see them coming out of spawn, shoot them, see your teammates, mini if you need. And the benefit of Ana is that you can self-nade, and then the mini does more healing. So if someone's really heavily diving you, and you should be seeing that Doomfist, by the way. Okay, your soldier deal with it, but I think you have a lot of time to deal with this Doomfist coming in. You should see him. Like, there's no reason there. No reason you don't try and sleep him, to be honest. Bit of a wasted sleep. He could have held that. You don't need to be cart. You do not need to be cart. Please don't be cart. You're gonna die on cart. Mercy thankfully comes and heals you, but that's again healing that shouldn't be on you, to be honest. Oh god. See, this is the thing. It's not just about the lethal threat that you have when you run on the cart. It's also about sometimes the resources that you force from your teammates to protect what is basically a positioning mistake. The time the Mercy spent healing you is time she could have spent healing a DPS or damage boosting a DPS, right? So if you just stayed here this entire time, firstly you can deal with the Doomfist quite easily. You'll be able to get... You go ahead.
So the reason I went so close to the card was I remember like I was calling out C9. Like I was not really sure whether anybody was nearby.
I mean, there's two things I would say about it. Firstly, it looks like there's plenty of people nearby, right? There's a Winston right here, there's a D.Va, there's a Genji, there's a lot of people in and around the cart from what I can see, right? Like, there's a lot of people in and around. Secondly, if they see 9 here and you didn't touch, you're literally, you and the Mercy are the last 2 people that the blame comes to, right? If there's a C9 here, it's everybody else's fault except yours and the Mercy, right? You're the last 2 people who should be on cart. So yeah, it doesn't feel good to see 9, but it feels worse to run on in a panic and die, because actually in the end everyone's here, right? 3 people are here now.
Yeah.
And even now you have the chance to maybe walk back. Let's say you were worried about the C9, you still have the chance to start walking back. Because what ends up happening now is that the Tracer dives you, right? You almost die to that. And now it forces the Mercy to come heal you, when this could have been damage boosting on the soldier, right? And now, if you were here again, you wouldn't be threatened by this Doomfist when he goes for the soldier. he kind of accidentally kills you because he starts off, let's
Yeah.
watch from his POV. He starts off trying to kill your soldier, kind of realizes his punch isn't going to make it there, and then just goes for you. Look, he's trying to kill the soldier, and you just happen to be there. And this is the case in point of why I always say, if you're out in the open, you will just get hit by stuff that wasn't meant for you. Like, this feels horrible when you're in the game, right? You're like, oh my goodness, look at this dumb character. He wasn't even trying to kill me. He just saw me last minute, pushed the punch, and I died instantly. But that is the threat of when you're in the open, you just die to random things that weren't really meant for you. And that's just like, there's no need. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions?
No, not really.
So again, here, like, this is so great because from here you can just hard scope and not worry at all. You can just be like shooting. You can nade here. If you nade here, it wins the fight basically, right? And that's the benefit of being at like a comfortable angle. You can really watch and wait for the right opportunity. Wow, I can't believe you're doing that. Doomfist eventually got the soldier, but okay. So that's as far as this is gonna go. Okay. You're gonna play Brig now, correct? So do you have any questions on Ana?
No, I think I just have to work on the taking cover.
Yeah, cover to cover. Always cover to cover. Always finding a position that's gonna be relevant, and
reloads.
and quick scoping. I think start mixing in some quick scopes. There were some nades that were, you know, there were some cooldowns that you, and actually yeah, cooldown usage as well. So I think cover was the most important thing because you were that was your biggest mistake. But also you didn't adapt your cooldown usage based on what the enemy team was playing. You were still throwing your sleep darts out even though there was people who could have dove you. And then yeah, quick scoping is always like a thing you can help with. It's always something you can get better with. There's no reason not to pack the Genji yet. We'll pack it sooner, I think. Good bash. I already feel like your APM is quite low on Brig compared to your Ana. How comfortable you're on the Brig compared to Ana?
The thing about Brig is I feel like from what I've seen other coaching sessions, like even if I'm not like actively doing much on Brig, it's supposed to be doing enough. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. But what I'm saying is like, how many hours you have on Brig compared to Ana? Because you had like a lot of hours. You had like hundreds of hours in Ana, right? Like, how many hours you have on Brig?
Probably just about 100.
Okay, I mean that's certainly enough. But the reason I'm saying is because for like the first, like quite a few seconds of the game, you're just kind of not doing anything, and not even in a way that you're like waiting. Like, so we're gonna see here in a second. When you come around the corner, you're shielding, but you're not even looking at anything, right? Like, you're looking at nothing.
Yeah.
I can't see anything. Like, obviously you can see the silhouettes of your teammates, but I don't know where the enemy team is. I don't know what they're running. Unless I'm pressing tab, I don't know if you are or not. I don't know what they're running. I don't know if anyone's shaping up to come up top here. I don't know where the Doomfist is. Let's say I've seen their comp. I don't know where the Doomfist is. I don't know where he's coming from. You just kind of hide for a little bit, whereas there's no reason not to be at this corner with your shield up using the POV to look here to see what's happening. And then again, you kind of hold your packs for a long time. You could easily pack one person here, especially the Winston once he goes critical. Because you know, there's no reason to hold three. May as well use one and let it recharge. And then, here's the punishment for it. Because you're not seeing when the Doomfist is coming, he gets right on top of your Ana. I think he does the slide punch, you know, where you can kind of slide off the geometry. So he knows his rollouts.
Yeah.
If you were here, you could have seen it coming. It only saves your Ana because you didn't charge it like long enough. We're gonna see it here now. Right, so that should be a kill. Actually, I think it's because she lands the nade between the things. Is that correct? Let's have a look. I think it's because her nade lands after the impact of the punch. That's the only thing that saves her. Yeah, that is incredibly lucky. Because she's trying to nade up there, I think.
Walk it off.
Or is it? No, I think it just does not enough damage. No, it does. No, it does. It does. Because she goes 200 even after she gets punched. Yeah. Because she's going to get she's gonna stay 200 even after the punch. Watch. So she's gonna get. You see that little brief flick between going down and up? So literally the accidental nade is the only thing that saves her. Whereas potentially you could have been watching, you could have whipped him, or you could have bashed him as he came up. And there's the case in point of if you just because you simply weren't looking, almost cost your team their Ana. Right? Now you do a good job once he gets up there, you bash him. And you interrupt him. But again, you're still not watching, you're still not really looking at what's happening. You're kind of just opting out. There's no reason not to use the shield to look and see what's happening. It's a good idea to try and trigger the Inspire, so that's good. Again, you try and bash the Doomfist away, so that's fine. Trigger the Inspire, that's good. Again, you kind of ward the Doomfist off, so that part is all good. Oh, nice. I thought you... Did you not hit him?
I think I missed. I whipped shot.
I thought I saw the hit marker, but... Oh, you do? Okay, good.
Oh, yeah.
I think it just doesn't interrupt his momentum, unfortunately. He just gets the uppercut off anyways. I think you could have bashed him there before you ran away, but that's okay. Oh, nice. Your Ashe kills him. You did a good job of not inting so far. Like, as in, you know, a lot of Braves would have just charged in and died by now. You're doing a good job of kind of... Yeah, you're doing a good job of alternating your shield with your swings. You know, you're keeping up in the fight. There's one thing I'm going to talk about in a sec, but I just want to watch this pan out. Okay, so, okay, you're going to die there. So there's two things actually now I'm going to talk about. One is try to use your bash to also be mobility, not just the stun. So here, like, especially when you're here against the Bastion, I think you need to bash across this gap. This is a huge risk to just walk across the gap. And you see almost... The only reason I think the Bastion doesn't kill you is A, he doesn't notice you. B, he actually starts the animation of his ultimate just as you're crossing. So if he paid attention to you here, we're gonna see it in a sec. Here, you just die. Like if he burns you down here, you will just die in this time that it's taking you to cross. So you really need to, again, you know, remember that thing we spoke about, cover to cover? You know, dash across like a platform. You need to dash across this gap. Because you can't be caught in the middle. Alright, so there's that. Now, I think here, you start doing a really good job. Like I said, alternating your cooldowns. And you just survive. You use your shield to block the shot. If you hadn't, you would have died. So that's perfect. It's your APM here, right? In the middle, you didn't really check. Because I can hear my Ashe saying, I need healing. You never really look for her. We're going to watch. You're never going to look for her. Because all it would have taken is for you to look at her and press E. That's literally all it would have taken for you to heal up. And now you're going to sit on 3 packs for a while. There's 3 packs. We get that one off on the ball. Again, the ball is next to you. The ball doesn't need the pack because you're already Inspire healing him. The person who really needs the pack is the far away people who are not benefited by your Inspire. And we can see from the side the critical. And then again, we just get caught out of cover. Unfortunately, you kind of wander into the open. I really think you could have just packed your Ashe. So does that make sense about, like, you know, this is what I'm talking about, APM, right? Actions per minute. Trying to really get more out of the character by simply, like, you know, inputting more, looking around more, checking more, trying to get in between your swings, trying to get that E press as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think that would have been really nice.
I just want to say, like, I do use my bash for mobility, but usually it's for, like, retreating. I only use it for retreating.
Yeah, and that's, you know, it's good to do that. But you should also, you know, again, if you're in a situation where you have to cross a gap, like there, that's a perfect example, then you should be using it. Again, why don't you check on your Ashe here? I also think you could have gone here. I think this high ground is the one to be at, where your Ashe is, because you need to keep her alive. Why don't you ever check for her? You know she came away hating her her supports, because she says, I need healing, like, multiple times. So you don't even look. See, you remember on Ana on first point, I was like, I applaud you for not turning around when the Ashe said I need healing. I hope that was a deliberate decision, and I'm starting to wonder if that was just, you literally didn't respond. Because that's, you know, she says and you don't even turn and look. Let's say you turn and she's dead, but you didn't even turn and look. So I do need you to start looking. Now you're Brig as well. So remember, your responsibilities are different.
Okay.
We haven't gone through that yet as Brig. But what are your responsibilities as Brig?
Packing the support and the DPS.
Right. So if you're not doing
And
that for the
kicking.
Ashe,
Yeah.
then it's a problem, isn't it? Wow, that is hate. Wow, do they hate that Genji? Wow. They just grabbed him for no reason and then punched the crap out of him. They almost missed as well, damn. I would take that all day if I was your team. Again, you're pre-packing the Reinhardt of all people, right? There's no need. And now, there's the positioning. You should have died there, right? There's no reason to walk out. This is not your range. There's a Bastion top left. I should automatically be telling you, nope. But you just like walk out of cover. You're 11 HP.
Yeah.
You still didn't use your bash for mobility, by the way, again, which is what I was talking about, right? And let's say you decided you were gonna cross. Surely just bash across this gap, right? APM, like there's the whole like I will turn slowly and look around, or there's the bash flick look back, right? That's the APM of it, right? You see how quite slowly you're responding to stuff. So I need you to kind of push yourself to do more and like think harder about what you're doing. Okay, so I mean, I'm not up against an early rally, but I think this is too early because nothing is ready. This is...
I think I remember, like, I just wanted to use rally because I felt like I wasn't. I think I'm about to switch because I felt like I didn't get rally fast enough.
And I understand, I appreciate the like pressure that comes when you've been holding an ult for a while. But what I would ask is like, you're gonna take this next fight as Brig, right? You're not switching before the next fight, correct? So make sure that you do the next fight correctly. And this is just too early. Like they're not even here. Your team isn't even close. They're not even close, right? You're Reinhardt and Brig. What exactly are you gonna fight with this rally? Right? Exactly. So there's just nothing. Like again, early rally is good, but early as in at the start of the fight, not 10 seconds before the fight's gonna even take place. So this is just too early. And then you make a very egregious mistake of just, you're just not even looking. I know you're worried about the Ashe, but again, this is like a positioning thing. I just think this whole engagement was scuffed. I think you just have to worry. Remember your job, right? I want to keep the Ashe and the Ana protected. So really what we should be thinking about is, can we like get Ana up here too? And just like play this and rally up here and then maybe drop if I need to and just kind of keep this position solid. You just kind of wander out into the open and get slammed. Now you live because rally and self-heal is good. But that was really, and again here, you're playing really badly against the Bastion. You know, it's like you just can't, you need to stop fighting the Bastion basically. You're not built to fight a Bastion. Like here, you should, again, this is the bash around the cover moment. You try to whip him. Why? He can't even be moved. Even if you connect with his whip shot.
Yeah.
The only thing you would do is trigger your self-heal, but I would rather you get to cover and not need to heal than trigger your self-heal while taking damage, right? So this, again, if you see a Bastion up there, your immediate response should be, let me bash into cover. So here, the immediate instinct should be bash here. And then you'd be fine. Now, thankfully, it's not a very impactful death, I don't think. I think this Bastion's gonna die and the whole team resets, so that's fine, but... Okay, so now Zen. Like, are you comfortable with Zen? Are you happy for us to look at your Zenyatta gameplay, or is it a character you don't play a lot?
No, it's fine. I have, I think, around 100 hours on Zen too.
Hey, what up, Kibo? Let me change the stream title before someone comes in and says, this is not Ana. I'll change it to support. Okay. Are you trying to shoot your own ball? Oh, you're trying to shoot a Doomfist. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I think you got lost here a little bit.
Yeah.
Once again, we're not really near any cover, so let's say they start shooting me, where are you gonna go? They start shooting you, where are you gonna go?
I think I was thinking, I had the mindset of I was with my Ashe, so I was safe.
Well, I mean, in the sense that, yeah, she might absorb some of their aggro, but in the sense that she's not going to help you mitigate any of the damage should they decide to start shooting you. So again, you know, high ground is fine. But I think let's say you start here. If the fight starts taking place where it takes place, I might just go here, like drop and go here. Because I think it's really difficult from this high ground to kind of see stuff. Where the fight is going. And again, it leaves you a little bit vulnerable. And then I think you just forget that the meteor strike is coming. So you probably should be on the edge of the platform when the meteor strike comes with the potential to jump off should he land where he lands. Instead, you like see your Ashe escapes, whereas ironically you just kind of jump right into the center of it.
I get squished.
Yeah, you get bug stomp. So your Ashe got away because she was on the edge, right?
Yeah.
She dies eventually to a Bastion, but now the funny thing is Zen is better against the Bastion but worse against the Doomfist, right? So you're gonna have to now bear that in mind. You've made like a conscious choice to say, I'll deal with the Bastion, which now means you're gonna have to deal with the Bastion but be careful about the Doomfist. Oh, there's a mini over there. Oh, thank God your team. Something does a lot of damage to the Zarya here. That's not you or your D.Va, it's something else.
It's a D.Va, I think.
No. Is it just the D.Va damage? What? That's a lot of damage. I guess I'm just underestimating how much damage a D.Va does. No, it's the Ashe. It's the Ashe. Yeah, of course it is. There's no way a D.Va does that much damage. It's the Ashe, yeah. So, hey, Ryan Maddock, thank you for the prime. Thank you very much. Welcome to SVBs. So there's a mini here. If the Ashe hadn't saved you, you would have died. Play the mini, right? And then you can also hide in the cubby. Since you have an Ana, wouldn't it make more sense to focus on the Doomfist and let her worry about the Bastion? In theory. But you might feel like the Ana isn't landing her cooldowns on the Bastion, so you need to do something about it. So, it really depends on the game itself. Oh, nice. This Ashe is the hero. She's certainly playing well, I think. She's holding good positions, she's doing good damage, so... Yeah, and it's always good to know. As I was saying to Shin earlier, I think in a lot of games in the medal rank, so you're in Diamond now, it's a lot more about playing with the player behavior in the lobby rather than theory. Like, because certain things will be like, okay, well, this is where they should be, but they never are. So understanding like, okay, my Ashe is doing well and holds good positions is valuable information, because it's like you should probably prioritize her more. I don't know why you're not poking for damage here, by the way. Really feel like you should be poking, because they don't have like a... Oh, they have a Hanzo now. They just switched to Hanzo. But still, you've got a Ryan and D.Va here. I think you can easily poke this here. Like, just spam here. I think you're being a bit too safe. Because I think you do need to output that damage as Zenyatta. Potentially get a pick. Potentially build your Transcendence. Because they have a grab, as we can see. And if you're like 2% away when the grab comes down, it's going to feel real bad. Good decision to kind of not peek the window. Okay, we do just get the Trank in time. And I agree with your decision to do it. I think it was a good decision. As you see, here's case in point. As I always say, right? Even if you think in theory, you're like, I want to Trank the Grav. Well, if your team is dying anyways, Trank. Because the Grav might be solved later. So you do a really good decision here to just Trank this. Because your team is definitely dead if you don't. Right, so this is really good. You protect your D.Va, you protect your Ryan, you almost protect your Genji. You get a little bit weird here because you don't really, you're not looking. You're just kind of dancing.
Either that was a brain fart moment, or I lagged out.
Yeah, something went wrong there. But your Genji popped off with a nano boost, I think. Yeah, maybe you're just lagging here, because here you go again. Yeah, you're definitely lagging, so... Again, yeah, I think it's probably good to poke here a little bit. Just be tight to the cover and poke, I think. And if you're worried about the Hanzo, what you can always do... See, there you go, great pick. What you can always do is just only right-click, right? So just right-click, peek, run away, right-click, peek, run away. Okay, so round 2, are you going to do it this time? Okay, nice. You got a little bit over scared because I think the audio cue would have told you he wasn't coming for you. Oh, nice. Great hit. That's a little bit too aggressive, I'm afraid, my friend. Yeah. I appreciate the chat energy, but I think you could have just stayed here and pummeled the Reinhardt from the high ground. And if you're going to drop, I think always drop a little bit further away. So drop like back towards this angle or something. If you really feel like you have to drop because they're fighting outside of your LOS. Because you drop right on top of him. And you take too much damage.
Yeah. I get touched.
So back to spawn. I think that ended up being quite impactful actually. It didn't seem too hurtful at the time, but it's caused your team a ripple effect here. They've kind of not been able to stay in the fight without your orbs and your damage. Oh, you're gonna run out of orbs here. You haven't reloaded in a while. You're gonna need it. A little bit of that reload management, right? Oh, see, this is where the nitpicking becomes a bigger issue, right? You're like, firstly, you're not outputting nearly enough damage here. Because firstly, you're reloading when you need to. Secondly, you miss. You're like so close to a transcendence that like one more shot hit earlier would have been the difference. So it's partly your reload, partly your aim, partly your decision to kind of dive on in, but had you been a bit more efficient with your damage, because it's quite a while that you were struggling to find damage here. I think you needed to find a better angle. Like you find the better angle here. Right, this is a good angle. And then here, you should just reload and go again. Instead, you end up like animation canceling yourself a lot because you just keep switching the harmony orbs. And you need to reload. And you miss. So it's like, it's a really small thing that has a really big impact. So I think a transcendence here wins you, or at least holds you in the game for a while. Transcendence here means you and your Genji get to fight. He has Blade. Right? And that's the difference between winning and losing. That's literally, sometimes that's what Overwatch is. One shot that you missed, one ult that you scuffed, and that's the fight. That's the game, right? Because it's close margins.
Yeah, seeing that last hit is painful.
Yeah, we've all been there. No one watching this hasn't whiffed those key shots. But I think the more important thing is your reload management. Because I think if you had reloaded better earlier, you would have gotten more shots, and I think you would have hit at least one or two more. Like any shots here, right? You hit none of those, unfortunately. You hit none of these. I think you hit one on the Rhine, right? Literally one on the Rhine. So, again, had you not spent that time reloading. So it's interesting because, you know, you do a lot of stuff really well, Dolphin. You know, you do like, your awareness in the fight is pretty good generally, right? You don't get caught by surprise that often. And your principles are good. Like when the fight breaks out, you respond very well, I think. Like that's the good thing. Like when things start happening, you don't just suddenly fall apart. Like you do respond stuff well, you hit stuff well. Especially on Ana, I thought you were doing a really good job of still hitting abilities. But there's these few tactical things that I think you need to think about. Firstly, you know, really think about your comp versus their comp and what the benefits of each comp are, because that will really affect how you play. It really should affect how you play, let me put it that way. On Ana, like we said, you know, that positioning, I think the positioning was on all three supports, Ana, Brig, Zen. Yeah. You need to go cover to cover, right? Never find yourself outside of it, otherwise you're in trouble. With Ana, we talked about your sleep dart, potentially learning the quick scope. With Brig, you know, we spoke about bashing across cover. And then with Zenyatta, I'm trying to remember what we spoke about. Yeah, I think again, there was those same kind of things about like playing in cover, anticipating player behavior, like if the Doomfist and Meteor striking, can I play on the edge? Can I look for more damage? Zenyatta, it's all about looking for more damage, so unfortunately, like if you miss a lot of shots or you're not looking for that kind of damage, then Also, I think here you could have been spamming Q as well as your hits. Maybe you get it off after you volley the Hanzo, but it's all hindsight, right? Do you have any questions or anything you wanna,
No, I
clarity
think
on?
I'm satisfied with what I've been told. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Great, awesome. So hopefully this will help you. Please do let me know how it goes for you, and if if you struggle with anything, or if you're finding that your games are either going better or worse, pop in the chat, let me know, and
Yeah.
hopefully this helps you feel. The most important thing is it should help you feel like a better player. As I was saying to Shin, maybe it won't instantly give you results, or maybe you'll find that what I'm saying was bad and you're like, SVB is just not helping. But feel free to come in
No,
and feed that back, and
the
we'll discuss it again.
the thing about the cover was the biggest eye opener for me. Like
Mhm.
I didn't realize how bad it was before. I did notice that first reload bit at the first corner, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, that cover thing is, yeah, I have to work on that.
Yeah, if you can even, like, the funny thing is, if you can even cut like 3 deaths in a game because of just using cover, that's just huge, right? And I think even in this game, like at least 3 or 4 deaths were just down to you not being in cover. And let's say you end the game with 8 deaths. If those 8 become 4 or 3, that's massive, right? That's like you potentially doubling your impact just by staying alive that much longer. So yeah, it's under appreciated sometimes how much just being in good positions will get you out of trouble. So hopefully if you can implement that, you'll find automatically your impact goes up. So any questions from your end?
No, I'm good.
Great, awesome. Well, thank you very much for putting your gameplay up for review. I
Yeah.
appreciate you taking that
Oh, and
scary step. It's not easy.